Hi, this is Jim Watson, Mayor of the City of Ottawa. Now, since I can't meet you virtually for this afternoon's child-friendly community conference, I wanted to say a quick word to kick things off. First and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the amazing June Girvan for organizing this wonderful event and for her many years of work in the community for young people. She's devoted her life to nurturing, protecting, and giving voice to children and young people, and she has invested her talents and resources in bettering their lives and the lives of newly arrived Canadians. After her retirement, June founded the JDEC in Ottawa, where she is volunteer-in-chief. The Centre serves children, youth, and immigrant families through unique programs that foster intellectual understanding, racial harmony, and social justice. Her exemplary civic achievements and her impact on the lives of so many people in our community are an inspiration. She is a recipient of the prestigious Order of Ontario, and most recently in 2018, I was proud to present June with the City Builder Award for her volunteer efforts in our community. Today's conference coincides with the UN World Child Day, Canada's National Child Day, and Ottawa's Child and Friendly Community Day. This is a chance to raise awareness and share ideas related to the benefits of a child-friendly home and school. I'm sure that you will all find this to be a productive and empowering event, and you will hear from some great speakers around the city, our country, and beyond. Every child is sacred. Thank you, June, and thank you for participating. Merci beaucoup.
We're going to meet June and others, and I would like to introduce the esteemed Dr. Richard Barwell, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Education at the University of Ottawa. A pleasure to have him here, and he's going to be introducing our first speakers for today.
Bonjour, hello to everyone, familiar and new faces. June, Kirsten, and Sylvia, it's good to see you. I was asked to introduce June, and it's really an honor for me, with no little humility in such distinguished company, to introduce her. And she will begin the conference by starting off this first session. And I will be brief because you are undoubtedly here, as am I, to hear from June, from Kirsten and Sylvia. So I'll add a little bit on to what the mayor just said. Since moving to Canada from Jamaica in the 1950s, June has made a long and distinguished contribution to the lives of the people of Ottawa as a teacher, school principal, Ministry of Education official, community leader, organizer, advocate, and is, I am proud to say, a graduate of the Faculty of Education at the University of Ottawa. And her contribution has been recognized with many awards, as mentioned by Mayor Watson, including her induction into the Order of Ontario in 2016 for her work. Based on my own experience, I can tell you that June is an opener of doors. To give just one example, she has been instrumental in convincing many institutions in the city of Ottawa, including the city itself, school boards, police service, and others, to recognize and adopt the United Nations Decade for People of African Descent. She is very persuasive. In my case, she made an appointment. I didn't know her. She made an appointment, came to meet me in my office, set out exactly why my faculty should adopt the decade. She left some documents for me to read, and I looked at them and thought, yeah, this is a good idea. But I confess, I got busy with other things. And then I got a phone call. So, Richard, what's happening? So, long story short, I arranged for her to speak to the Faculty's Council, who immediately and unanimously voted to support her proposal. And so we adopted the UN Decade and continue to develop plans resulting from that adoption. It seems to me that June's work reflects three important commitments. First, she is committed to children, to the rights of children to grow up free, happy, and without experiencing or learning prejudice or discrimination. Second, she is committed to human rights. And this commitment shapes all her work for children, for youth, and for everyone. And third, she's committed to the possibility of compassion, to seeing and understanding the lives behind each person. I think compassion is particularly important at the moment when we can be quick to judge, to dismiss, or to tweet without perhaps first looking at the whole person. And I commend June for these three commitments. And so, without further ado, please welcome the remarkable June Girvan.
Hi everyone, my name is Idan Scher. I'm the Rabbi of Congregation Machzikei Hadas in Ottawa, Canada. I was asked to introduce a really incredible person by the name of Yaakov Hecht. But before I introduce him, I just want to give you a little bit of context as to why it was that I was asked to introduce Yaakov at this very special conference, a conference that celebrates, a conference that reflects on June Girvan's legacy. I met June last Hi everyone, my name is Idan Scher. I'm the Rabbi of Congregation Machzikei Hadas in Ottawa, Canada. I was asked to introduce a really incredible person by the name of Yaakov Hecht. But before I introduce him, I just want to give you a little bit of context as to why it was that I was asked to introduce Yaakov at this very special conference, a conference that celebrates, a conference that reflects on June Girvan's legacy. I met June last December, and my first meeting with June, I already knew that I was going to have a big change in my life. I knew that I was going to learn some things that would absolutely impact me in ways that very little had before. And that's exactly what happened. June taught me about what real equality looks like for people, what real democracy looks like. June taught me about systemic racism that exists and really exists. And it's not just in one country, but all over the world, including, unfortunately, in our own hometown. June taught me about what loving people means, with what reconciliation means. I have learned so much from June, and in turn, I have been able to offer so much more to my own community because of our connection. After a couple of conversations with June, we decided as a Jewish community, both in Ottawa and actually nationally as well, to formally recognize and ensure that we would put that into practice, the UN decade. So this UN decade that recognizes people of African descent. And we worked extremely hard on this recognition, on this formal recognition, in a way that honors the theme of nothing about us without us. And it's something that has now transformed my way of thinking, that what real advocacy means, that what real equality means, is constantly reflecting on this idea of nothing about us without us. It's not about doing things for others, it's about doing things together, everybody on an equal footing. And those are some of the things that June taught me. And in turn, those are some of the ways in which I have been able to bring the lessons of June Girvan into our community. And I would say our community has been uplifted because of that, which now, of course, leads me to the introducing Yaakov Hecht. Yaakov is an incredible man that I had not heard of before until I was asked to introduce him. He's from Israel, and he founded in 1987 the first school in the world to be called a democratic school, and it was in Hadera in Israel. In 1996, Yaakov founded IDE, the Institute for Democratic Education, and within it, a groundbreaking academic faculty for teachers training in the Kibbutzim College, the biggest academic institute for teachers in Israel. He's wrote a book that has been translated into many languages on democratic education. He founded education cities, and he has also, very importantly, served as an advisor to 6 ministers of education in Israel, as an expert in interfacing between the state and alternative education. And I love how his bio ends. He regards the preparing and directing of the educational system towards the future as his main mission today. Yaakov Hecht is somebody that lives his life, that both in his mind and practically as well, in the same vein as June Girvan. It's only appropriate that he be presenting at this incredible conference. And it is my great honor to introduce Yaakov Hecht, the founder of the first ever democratic school in the world, and somebody that has continued that legacy of democratic learning, democratic education until today. Thank you so much for having me on. A big congratulations to June on having this entire conference fashioned around her way of thinking, her perspective, and Yaakov, please take it from here.